let me tell you, it was a blessing. It's always good to be in the house of the Lord. I'm just gonna share what stood out with me today. The pastor, he was preaching from 2 Kings chapter 4, and he read from verse 1 to 7, and that part was talking about, you know, there was a lady and her husband died, right? And he was owing some debts wherever, and the people were coming. They were telling the wife that she have to pay off the debt. If she didn't pay off the debt, they're gonna take her sons and sell them as slaves, right? So she went to the prophet and told the prophet what and what, and the prophet told her, ask her, you know what do you have at home? And she said all she have is a chop of olive oil. So he said, okay, go buy all the neighbors and take the pots and pans and whatever from them, borrow from them as much as you can, as much as they can lend you, or as much as they will lend you, and just pour the oil in it. And she went, and he said shut the door, and she went in and poured the oil in all of the pots. So she was pouring the oil, and the sons were passing the pots. So when all the pots were filled, the oil stopped flowing, you know, from the bottle that she had. She went back to the prophet and she told the prophet, okay, the oil is filled, the pans and stuff are filled, what to do now? So the prophet said that you should sell the oil, go out and sell the oil to people and pay off the debt, and more you will, the extra money you make, the extra money that you make, you use that, you know, to help with you and your sons, and, you know, buy your basic needs and what's not, you know. And that really stood out to me because it just shows, you know, how God, you know, will provide for you. And the part that stood out to me most, you know, was when the prophet told her to go, you know, she said she have a little bit of oil, but the prophet tell her to go and fill up all the pots with oil. Now somebody like me would that be like, but it's a little bit of oil I have, how that then full up all them pots, you know? But she did not ask no question at all, and that stood out to me most because sometimes, you know, I tend, like if God had to do something, I tend to question God, you know, and ask God and tell God, you know, but God, this is how is that gonna happen? You know, how is that possible? But anything is possible through God. You have to have faith. I was so moved by that story because it just made me realize, you know, how God works and how we should trust God without asking questions. You know, just trust God. Put all of your faith and confidence in Him. So if God say, Nikki or whoever, go and do this, you don't question God and say, but God, me not have no money for go pay or send me. Just go ahead and do it, and He will provide for you. Just like how he was able to pour the oil continuously, you know, into the lady's pots. Because listen, God economy is never dry. Once it belongs to God economy, it will never run dry. So that really stood out to me. And another thing too that stood out was when he told the lady to shut the door. You shut the door. You don't want a distraction from anybody, you know. So sometimes that is what, not sometimes, all the time, that is what we need to do. We need to shut the door. We need to not ask God, not question God, you know, and just do what the things that God said to do, because He is God, and who else are we gonna depend upon, you know? So yeah, I just want to share that with you. So as you guys go through the rest of the week, the rest of your life and so on, always remember to put your trust in God, because God can see you through. Just like how that oil continuously poured until all the pots were filled, your cup will never run dry. Once you put your faith and your trust in God, don't ask no question. If God tell you to do something, just do it. Don't ask. Don't say, but God, me not had this, me not had that, how am I going to do? Just do it. All right, so just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and as usual, have a good time in the world.